GTii, I am still temporarily bearish, but there could be the chance to where we can actually find a massive bounce coming up. I'm going to go ahead and go over those targets in this video. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a GTii, technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. Okay, but with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. So we are looking at GTii on the 4-hour here, and we did mention the possibility of reaching this zone here from a bearish outlook due to this formation having both a bullish and a bearish price objective. Okay, so now we have since met that target, and now we're continuing to the downside. Okay, so I have a few things for us to look at and consider. These are very important. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to this chart right over here. This is the chart that we were looking at on the 8-hour, and we found ourselves in a descending channel. Now, these descending channels usually present a bullish outlook. Upon the breakout of test number 4, we actually need a retracement back to test our newly converted resistance into support. Okay, so now the thing is that within this test, there are several areas of interest before we can actually move to the upside. Now, those areas of interest are these. Okay, so this is first of all, this is the support range that I set yesterday when we were up here somewhere. And I said that we're likely to come down in here to find some support before a continuation. Okay, so the support range is between 78 and about $1.03. I said it's very likely that we go to the 103 today. So in fact, we actually just came down even more. So now that the bearish price action is still present, I am looking at probably a lower target of about 72 cents at the 0.618. And at that point, I would actually like to see where our statistical values are sitting, because I did mention to you that it would be best that we actually find a lower level of the stochastic momentum so that we can allow the volatility, which is represented by this indicator BBWP, so we can allow volatility to yet again reach our what we consider to be critical expansion zones of volatility buildup. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying that is good is because our statistical metric would then be reset. So I've mentioned this on a couple videos already. So it looks like we're well on the path to that, but we actually do need some further capitulation in order for us to meet this critical area, thus resetting our statistical metrics. Okay, so new viewers, you're looking at volatility represented by this indicator BBWP. Volatility is direction neutral, so we pair it with an indicator. In my case, actually, for TradingView software, I use stochastic momentum. So now in testing this indicator alone, particular to the GTI asset in the 3-day time period, I have backtested that throughout the entire trading history, by the way. So now, the backtest is done by hand too. So out of 11 iterations, the stochastic momentum has guessed the asset's direction 90.90% of the time. We've only had one incorrect guess. Okay, so now pairing volatility versus momentum, we actually came up with some pretty interesting results. So anytime that we have expanded into the critical volatility zone, which I consider to be anything above this trend line here, the 90% and on, so within the 90 percentile, whenever we've reached that and started a contraction phase to the downside, volatility versus momentum has given me the statistics here. So out of a total 11 iterations, we have correctly guessed to the upside 7, giving us an average upside accuracy of 68.63% with an averaged upside thrust of 3,200% over the span of just over a month. So this is why I'm saying that we need to continue some capitulation down to these levels here so that we can be able to correct and start making our contraction phase from critical expansion zones. So we're getting into high volatility here. So something is brewing. Okay, so now upon the criteria being met for the statistical metrics to be applied. Please remember that it is an average month, okay, or so. So we are gonna potentially look at some upside here. Okay, so we need both of the stochastic momentum, moving average, and signal line pivoted towards the upside, alongside either maintaining here at the top areas of critical expansion or contraction phase starting. So those are the two criteria to meet in order for us to get that upside move. Now the next thing is here on the RSI profile. So we're looking at the 12-hour RSI. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a diagram for the new viewers and new listeners to be able to kind of tag along. These are the 4 zones that I have for the RSI, and these are right over here, so you can be able to see and not get lost in translation. So the 12-hour RSI is still suggesting a massive nosedive here and a continuation to the downside in critical oversold area. So the lower we get here, the higher the likelihood is for us to reverse. Okay, so now let's look at multi-pane. So let's just open up several RSI time frame here so that we can see or gauge a better understanding for starting from the immediate short term. So 30-minute RSI is suggesting a continuation onto the downside. It has since made a bearish cross below the moving average represented by this pink line, and we are now jumping into oversold percentile. Now, as you can see here, we have actually used the moving average as a form of support before continuing on. So there is the potential to where we can do that in the immediate short-term time frame. Okay, so this is very, very short-term. Okay, so I'm talking about within the early pre-market to the morning session. Okay, so now the bi-hourly RSI is suggesting a continuation to the downside from oversold percentile, and it looks like it actually may present a short-term downside. I'd say to about this low. Actually, now we made a new historical low, so to the 10% oversold area, which is massively low. Okay, so this is there. I can actually see some limited downside if there isn't like just a panic sell event. Okay, so now let's look at the 6 hour. The 6 hour is suggesting a continuation onto the downside as well. However, the pivot is starting to not be as aggressive as this pivot here. You can see it's starting to kind of curve. So we can see some sell pressure losing some strength. Now the daily is the one that we're going to have to put a massive amount of weight on. Okay, so this is suggesting a continuation onto the downside, and for sure. Okay, and this is likely to be corrective when it starts to get into areas of previously used zones of reversal. So for example, here, this could be the lowest iteration, like these right here. So there is a potential to where we can actually face continuation to the upside after touching down to these historical lows. Okay, so which is very much in accordance to what we're talking about here. We need some further downside so that we can be able to get the stochastic momentum to finally bottom out. Excuse me, you guys. And we also so we can allow volatility, both of the volatility component, which is this spectrum line, and the moving average, both into the critical expansion zone for some high volatility buildup. Okay, so and yeah, like we were talking about within this chart here. Continuation down to about the 72 cent level. So this area I can't confirm just yet as this is it, and a reversal can happen from this area, but it is likely for us to find a pretty significant bounce from this point here. But just keep in mind that we've been capitulating for. I mean, this is a big capitulation event. Okay, you guys. So we need to keep that in mind. So that the asset is shocked. So there are some technicals that are just red hot in oversold over here. So some upside is imminent. Okay, you guys. So I think this is a pretty good place for me to leave off the video. If you have, actually one more thing. Did I have everything to say? Okay, yes, I did. Actually, that is it. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me within Discord or Twitter. I'll make sure to leave the links in the description below for you to consider joining the ARCa trading community, okay? So please know that I'm not a financial advisor, and I take whatever I do say within these videos as a form of entertainment. do your own DD, okay? And blah, 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 all that regular stuff that I have to say to you guys. So, but with that said, I wish you well. I wish you a good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.